Good afternoon. I'm really happy to welcome all of you who are here and who are behind the screens. I don't know how many of are there, but welcome to everybody. My name is Katrin. I'm coming from Estonia. I have been connected with Urbact for 5 years now, and those years gave me a lot of valuable experience like today. And today I'm really proud to moderate this session with my friends here. We will discuss about helping Ukrainian people. I don't know how many of you read the news today, but check it later. Today is the last day of school for children in Ukraine, and you can find dozens of pictures of children who are celebrating that day on the ruins of the school. I think this is something which gave us a big impact to talk about that, how to help them. And I hope I will get my presentation. No. My slide presentation? Yes, thank you. And as you can see from the next slide, almost 7 million people had to leave their home country. And all those 7 million people had to find a place to live safe. Today, we will share the experience, how to make this situation a little bit easier for them. But at first, we want to know who is our audience today. For that, we prepared 3 questions, which you can find in Slido. And I hope this slide will come next. Yes. And please join us in Slido. And after joining, we will see the first question. So, the first question is, and please who are behind the screens, I really hope that you will answer as well. Does your city welcome Ukrainian people? So I think everybody has some connection with them, but do you know that, do you have them in your city? As I see, everybody has connection with that topic. We have 9 answers. I hope we will get some more. You can join here 11 answers. You can join even with that QR code, or you just go to slido.com and enter this code. 14 answers, 15. I think it's good enough to go to, because as you see, answer is 100%. So that means this is very important to talk about that topic. We can go to next question. What were the first measures your city took to welcome Ukrainian people? And for that, you please answer some keynotes. What were the first steps you did? And those answers will come in our screen. 10 people are typing, 12 people. Soon we will see the answers. The first what they need was accommodation, medicines, info points about that we will talk today. Transportation, information and info points, it's going together. Accommodation is the main topic, as you can see. provide housing, it's shelter, it's all about accommodation. Yeah, I think this is one of the main topic. School is coming, education is definitely important topic. I like this one, stay alive. Thank you for that answer. Providing homes, health, food, everything is like we thought are the main topics to talk about. Thank you. I think we can go to our third question. And what are your challenges in welcoming these people? Again, you can answer by small keynotes. And then we know when our people will talk about their experience, they can little bit pay attention more maybe in your challenges. So housing, yeah, accommodation was the main keyword which they needed, and housing is the challenge, language, transport. Language, I think it's for challenge in communication. Coordinating a big number of Ukrainian people. As you see, accommodation is a very, very big topic. Education. So I can see from that answers, we were preparing that session, we were in totally right way. And we will talk about those things today. And for preparing future things, we need your information a lot. So, as we know now a little bit about our audience, now I think it's time to introduce my friends here and our speakers. So we go back to our slideshow. And as I mentioned before, I am coming from Estonia. And more than 40,000 Ukrainian people have came to Estonia. Half of them are staying in Tallinn, and Tallinn city opened the reception center for them after 4 days the Russia attacked Ukraine. On the 28th of February, the center was open 24 hours per day, 7 days per week, sorry. And now about 2,000 people are coming weekly to Estonia. And linking to the morning panel session, I can honestly say that we had lack of technological solution for gathering their data, because we had to deal with simple Excel to exchange the data between departments, and then mistakes started to become, it wasn't easy. So next we have here representative of Poland, and next to me is sitting Damian, who is from city of Gdansk, which is in the north of Poland. And as you can see, more than 3.5 million Ukrainian people are in Poland. So it's a huge number. And more than 150,000 are in the Gdansk city. It's about 30% of the city's population, as you can compare. It's a very huge number, and we are very grateful to the Polish people for that help which they are giving to Ukrainian people. Next, we have here our Estonian neighbors, Latvia, and Ilona is coming from Riga. In Riga, there are 30,000 Ukrainian people. And again, the same situation like in Estonia, half of them are staying in the capital city. And Ilona will tell us how they concentrated their opportunities in the city for them. And final speaker will be Magdi from Germany, who is coming from Dresden. Dresden, as you can see, is close to the border with Czech Republic and even Poland. And Magdi will tell us how Germany handles 8,100 Ukrainian people in their country. And almost 10,000 of them are in Dresden. So as you can see from here, all those cities are almost the same size. Just the numbers of Ukrainian people are different and numbers of inhabitants little bit. But now I think it's time to hear how they helped Ukrainian people. So first of all, I will give the word to the Damian, please.
Hello, Damian KUZMINSKI. I work in a social development department in City Hall in Gdansk. The description in the photo from our help center reflects what I would like to share with you today. Gdansk in action, Gdansk welcoming people from the Ukraine. I remember it was the first Wednesday after the outbreak of the war. It was around 7 o'clock. It was already dark outside. I must surely say I was a bit tired after the whole day of working in the center. The woman with 3 young children came to us. With the volunteers together who knew Ukrainian language, we asked how we could help if she had something to eat and where to sleep. There were 2 main questions. The answer was no. She only had a small backpack. She was brought directly from the border to Gdansk. We have this image in front of our eyes when we plan to help people from Ukraine. Please. These are the pictures. This is the entrance to our help center. And on the next picture, we are planning to travel to group accommodation, temporary group accommodation points in Gdansk. But let's start from the beginning. After the outbreak, the first helping activities were self-organizing movements. People organized themselves. They organized collecting of things that were taken directly to the border by private cars and private buses. On February the 27th, the decision was made that we are opening a help center in Gdansk. It was Sunday. On Monday, it was working. At the same time, the cooperation was established with government assistance system providing accommodation. Let's see the big picture. People, non-government organizations, private companies, institutions, everyone wanted to help. We, in order to collect all the help and a bit organize the system, we established internet system Gdansk Pomaga. We collect the help and also we collect the needs. We also launched info line in Polish and Ukrainian. So now let's see. This is the big on the slides. The big network in our city. The heart of the network is a helping center. We call it the reception point. The reception point consists of a full range of different services inside. We started, there was a medical point, food, basic needs, support, shelter, nutrition point, coffee, hot meal, of course, psychological support, border guards, of course, all the necessary systems connected to help providing accommodation, information, and even, it was a short time, but we have job offers and free counseling. All the services were in the one place. Who worked there? Who worked in these points? First, there were delegated people from city hall and city institutions, for example, cultural institution. We had also our strategic partners, like inside there was a temporary volunteers center filled with volunteers, and of course non-government organizations. It was a core that Gdansk Foundation and Immigrant Support Center supports, coordinates with. It was the whole team coordinates all the processes and all the services inside. The network spread over the city. In the biggest city shopping center, there were opened shops that you can have free clothes. There were open in the city points, then you can leave your child under care. We also using football stadium infrastructure. We created a warehouse, a central warehouse that collect and distribute things. It's not only for people who were in Gdansk, but also from this warehouse, 28 big trucks went to Ukraine. Also, using our already existing network of, like here we have on slides, local help desk, neighborhood houses, NGO facilities, we open smaller points. It depends about the service. Some have food, some have clothes, some were providing shelter. So this was the strong network. Yes. Let's see some figures. To Poland, after the war, 3 million people came. In Gdańsk, we think these numbers are a bit exaggerated. These are according to Metropolitan report. 1,050 people, we think it's in Metropolia, in 3 close cities to each other. But as I was talking about this help center, there was a time, I were working there from the beginning, there was time that daily we have 800 people daily. So now it's a bit 150. Let's see this, our warehouse still, 1,000 people daily need help and come to the warehouse. Daily also, these numbers change, it's around 700 people accommodated daily in temporary accommodations. And I guess maybe this number is quite interesting. In schools, we have 3,800 Ukrainian children already. Now the school year is finishing. At September, we start a new school year. Probably, we think it will be around 5,000. It's around 5% of the whole children in schools in Gdańsk. Here are also, now it's around 17,000 people made a Polish ID number. We think these people want to stay for a longer time in Gdańsk. Thank you. The challenges ahead, of course, shelter, long-distance shelter. Now we are approaching touristic season, so some shelters are not available, and prices, for example, are extremely high. So support, psychological support, but in Ukrainian language. We all know that the therapy is precise language. So that's why it should be more understandable of this therapy. Integration, mutual understanding. Today we observe that the honeymoon is over. Especially we see some dislikes in teenagers. We will see what happened next, but integration is a challenge. Education, I think teachers, language, and adapting all the school system to provide a good education, it's a challenge. Coming to a close, I would like to show the picture made by children. And I would like to read one sentence. When planning help, planning to make decision, let's have before our eyes the image I was talking about at the beginning, the children image. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I hope you noticed there was 700 people needed accommodation daily. If you think about your cities, I think it's challenging in every city to find 700 places daily. And I'm very glad to hear that almost 4,000 students are at schools, because I am coming from educational field, and education is something which I know it's very, very big challenge in Estonia as well, how to unite all those study programs and everything. So, and now we can move on to Ilona, who will tell us how they manage this situation in Riga. Please.
Yeah, I would like to thank you, Damian, for your presentation and really impressive work done by Poland to help Ukrainian people. It is my pleasure and honor to be on this stage today and present the experience of Riga municipality in welcoming Ukrainian people fleeing the war. Yeah, we can now go to the next slide. Yeah, and some of the initial activities in the very beginning of the March was opening 24/7 helplines in Riga city municipality and on state level for providing all the necessary information on arrival. A special law was adopted on assistance to Ukrainians to ensure some essential needs like accommodation, sustenance, provision with essential products, healthcare services, and of course education for children. This law was necessary in order to support the Ukrainian citizens and their family members who are leaving Ukraine as soon as possible without unnecessary bureaucracy. The purpose of the law is to provide general support to Ukrainians. It's a long-term visa with a right of employment without restrictions up for 1 year, the right to work in the field of education with children from Ukraine. It's facilitated requirements for employments who will employ Ukrainians, also without knowledge of the state language, if this not interfere with the performance of duty work. The right to receive medical treatment. Citizens of Ukraine have the right to receive state-paid health care services in the same amount as residents of Latvia. And of course, Latvian state provide a payment account in credit institutions for those Ukrainian people. And what we see, these big flows in the first days of March, Riga municipality established a Riga support center for residents of Ukraine, which is located in the very center of city with parking available for visitors. We can now go to the next slide. Yeah, and this center is open since March 7th, and unlike in Estonia and Poland, it's operating only on weekdays. This center works as a one-stop agency. It means that in this one center they can get all the necessary services and all that they need. As I already mentioned, this center was established by City Council, but the people who work in this center are from Riga City Council and state organization, which are involved in service providing together with NGOs and volunteers, of course. On the first days, flow of people in this center was 600-700 per day. Now it decreased to 80 or 100% per day. At first, center was opened in a Congress hall, but due to large flow of people, it was moved to larger premises. So now it is in the very center of city. We can go to next slide. Yeah, as you can see, there are all services and practical support which they can get in this center. It's applying for visa, for crisis benefits, for guaranteed minimum income, consultations for schools and kindergartens and registration, consultation on employment, NGO provided support, as well as psychological support and first aid. They get the free mobile SIM cards and e-tickets for the public transport. You Can go to next slide. Yeah, and here you can see some statistics. On the 1st of June, 31,394 personal identification numbers was issued, and more of 50% of them are registered in Riga. It's like in Estonia, the same situation. Those people mostly stayed in municipal or special tourist places which are provided for them. Almost 1/5 stay with their friends, relatives, or some volunteers who are welcome there in the own houses, and just 2% of them are renting apartments. Most of the people who already have a job are working in manufacturing, accommodation and catering services, trade and consultation business, as well as health and social care. 62 of employers have just one Ukrainian working in the company, 17% have at least 2 Ukrainians, and 11% have 5 and more Ukrainian peoples working in their company. As I mentioned before, legislation allows them to work for 1 year without state language knowing. There are a lot of Ukrainian children in our educational institution. During first 3 months, 2,500 were admitted to our city's municipal schools and preschools. Ukrainian teachers working in schools and helping their students as teacher assistants during the classes. Ukrainian children want to be involved also in interest education programs as well, both children who want to further develop their talent if they previously were involved in dancing, sports, music, computer modeling, and so on, as well as those who want to try something new and are still looking for their passion. Interest education is for free, and institutions are happy to admit children to almost all interest education programs that have vacancies. Now we have summer break for 3 months, during which kids will have an opportunity to attend summer camps with our city children. We can go to next slide. Yeah, for convenience of the visitors, we have catering, chapel room, baby care, and playing rooms. And of course, our interest education institutions provide different activities for children, not only where their parents have an appointment, but also on specified timetable. Okay, we can go further. Yeah, and talking about success and challenges, as a good practice, I would like to stress a very successful cooperation between all the institutions, municipality, NGOs, state, voluntary, and successful practice was also involving Ukrainian volunteers. Those who come in the beginning of the war, now working in this center as volunteers, and they are helping a lot, not only with knowing of language, but also this psychological help, especially it's important for working with children. Of course, without donations, with our entrepreneurs, business, as well as individuals, it will be tough and problematic to provide all the necessary helps. And major challenges, of course, are related to unpredictability of the situation and changes, which has to be done in action, adapting to new reality all the time, and also capacity of some institutions who has not enough in the beginning of March when the biggest amount of people visited the center, and that is why this center is open only on weekdays, not on weekends. And for further steps in the center, we see providing new services like free language courses, so-called labor exchanges, where employers are introducing their vacancies, and non-formal education activities. Last labor exchange was on 9th of June, where more than 500 people attend this labor exchange, and 13 companies presented more than 700 vacancies. And in the end of my presentation, I want to share my meeting with these Ukrainian people, despite the wish to return home as soon as it will be possible, they are genuine desire for integration. They want to learn the language, they want to know more about our culture, our traditions. And the same situation we can see in our schools where students already presenting their homeworks in Latvian. So I really admire those brave and strong Ukrainian people, and we have to be strong in Europe to support them as long as it will be necessary. Thank you for your attention. And in the last slide, you can see some of our volunteers who are working in the center with our mayor, Martin Statis, who is in the middle with a red arrow in his hands. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ilona, for your information. And as in the beginning, there was the main topic, accommodation. I hope you noticed Riga managed 39% in municipality-owned accommodation. I'm really, really happy that you have such kind of accommodation. We don't have, and I don't think that many of your municipalities or cities has so much. But thank you again, and we move on to our next city, and now Magdi will tell you about the situation in Dresden. Please, Magdi.
Yeah, thank you very much, and it gives me great pleasure to be with you today. And really, before I start, I would like to just say something before. The first touch with me with Ukrainian, it was in Tokyo, while I was doing my degree, and I met a family there, a student and his wife. They are doing their PhD as well. And really, I like this culture so much. And I feel, wow, I should visit this country. And it was first time for me to touch people from Ukraine. And from that time, we are in close relation. And the second point is, after this crisis has arisen, we realized how many students were studying in Kiev and in Ukraine. And it was a big problem when they come back to their countries. I say, wow. And the second point is the food crisis right now. I say, wow, this is a very nice country, and maybe this crisis reveal the cover for the people to understand how much this country is important in our life. It is very clear. So we owe it to them to confess it, and we would like coming days would be better for everybody, inshallah. Okay, so I come from Technical University of Dresden, and I just try to make a little bit to touch the situation in my city. What is the current situation? How was the welcome centers at the beginning, Dresden platform, NGO contribution to Ukrainian people who come, and Ukrainian and other migrants. This is and future challenges. Also, we will little bit touch it. So, as it was mentioned, we have almost 10,000 Ukrainian people in our city in Dresden. Dresden, by the way, is a very beautiful city, and it is very close to the border of Poland and to Czech Republic as well. So it is what we can say, it is a center of the city which many people can, or migrants come and collecting there or staying there, and some of them even prefer to stay there after everything is settled down. Not only Ukrainian, but other migrants. And we have now almost 10,000. We have 10% of the society in Dresden, they are migrant people. It was a little bit, 6 years ago, it was different because it was first migrant come to Dresden. It was a little bit shock for the people there, but nowadays with Ukrainian situation is quite different. So many societies would like to support and help really, and they feel like they are our people. and they are belonging to us, and we should do something. And I think it is very interesting, and it looks like a good picture of cooperation between the organization and also NGOs in the city, and I will try to mention. Yeah. So at the first beginning, they assigned a place, as my colleagues have mentioned right now, that we have a center. But they make it so easier. Just come and direct. They assigned a big center in the center of the city itself, not very far, with everything. Just if you have a document, or even you don't have a document, you will be registered there. And the registration is important to have the facility or some facilities from the country itself and in Dresden itself. Welcome center, they quickly have so many guys who is volunteer, who we'll talk later about, and they contribute how to support. They look at so many different things. They provide a place to stay, of course, as at the beginning, even a place for the pets and dogs and cats, and check them if somebody come with it. And for the medical and for, of course, the daily life needed, it was organized by the city itself and quickly. And they assigned this place, which at the beginning include everybody coming from Ukraine. But after some time, it was full, and they have another center and also have been prepared with all needs, for medical and for kids to go, for the kindergarten and so on. This initial support, of course, are needed, and everybody is thinking what will be the next. It is a temporary residence there, and I would like to have a house, I would like to have a permanent stay or staying in another house, but this takes some procedures. So the city itself started kind of platform, I will talk later about it, to make it easier how to contact, maybe with email, with your smartphone, or with telephone direct. You will find somebody who can speak also in Ukrainian language. It will be supported, it will not be a problem. Next. Okay, this is a platform, it is created, maybe I can just mention here, this platform together with Ukrainian Greek Catholic personal parish of St. Michael or St. Michel in Dresden, and the Dresden platform by the city itself. And it was created quickly, maybe in the first week, just to give a help for everybody, not to find where I can find the information. Once I arrive, I would like to have some humanitarian help, for example. And this, they open also the gate for donation from the society, and they collected just to cover the insufficient material at that time, and also to find some people who can speak Ukrainian to make it easier for communication. And also for transportation, it was open for all Ukrainian in the country, in Germany. You can travel from whatever point to another point in the whole country, and that's for free. Even just if you have just ID to prove your identity that you are from Ukraine. And maybe just right now, the government in Germany as well, they open it for all German because it is created, and it is very nice that they just pay €9 per month and you can travel wherever in the country, and it is the first time, I think, it happens like that. So it also brings us good news that the Ukrainian is there. That's interesting. And also, this is not only for transportation, but also for medical care. They quickly have this kind of small card, and you can, if you are suffering from whatever, they put also a list and the time, and some volunteer can take and they can join them to go to the hospital, and they assign the hospital. And if somebody is suffering from, and everybody can get this, I don't want to go in details, but it's just in general. Of course, for public what I can say, public relation. Also Ukrainian, they have very interesting things. They say a cake day, and they establish what we can call one festival, and they cook a kuchen or some cakes, and it was sold, and everybody just enjoy Ukrainian cakes and collected some money to support people who is coming, so they can also have kind of what I can say innovative idea. And the second one, they also participating in cleaning the city, and it was very interesting. They gather each other and say, okay, we are a positive to this society, and it was also one day they try to support and interact with Dresdener people. For education, for the first time, they try, the city itself try to find teachers who can speak Ukrainian to support the student, and this is really for the first time. I can see there, of course, not 100%, but just to support the student and the kids who would like not to lose or to miss the time there, and to be supported with Ukrainian language, because usually you should have intensive course in German to join education. Of course, to search for a house, it is not easy, but quickly again, they put a kind of reference and for how many family members, and everything has been organized quickly to find your house. And they deleted all kind of investigation, or you should have this document. It was quite easy. I hope I'm not exceeding my time. Yes, please. Yes. So NGO also, they have a very interesting rule in that we have what we can call Ausländerrat. Ausländerrat and Red Cross and other volunteers, they are so active to help immigrants, and they assigned a part of this consultation to foreigners office. It is semi-government and only to support Ukrainian in different field, and they put different telephone number and also emails. If you have any question regarding your education, your house, your spouse, your partner, you would like to bring them, whatever you are interested, this is a list. Just call, just come, and they put the time, and you don't need even a termin or an appointment. And also for the others, I have seen so many volunteers. Just pick up them if somebody is coming and he has no idea, just to check the internet for the platform. Some people waiting in the train, some people waiting in the Flughafen or in the airport, others in the bus station, just to take them to the center or the welcome center to make it easier. So NGOs has also supported these cake days and also these cleaning days and other activity with kids, especially in kindergarten. Last one, please. Yes. Some of future challenges, and this is very interesting, because usually once come to Germany or any other country, the language is a barrier. And if you would like to stay, because some Ukrainian has asked it, I have worked also as a consultant for some centers, and they would like to stay. And of course, for language, it is a barrier. But again, some group and also the city has given a chance for free education for the language. If you are interested, it is not must, but if you would like to join the labor market in the future or any other job, you should have the language. So this will be a problem, but if somebody interested to also use this kind of positive point, he should have the language number one. So this is a barrier, and it is also a challenge. Education recognition, some of them, they came with the different education, of course, certificates and the field. And in Germany, we have also some system, how we can make a recognition for your certificate. It should follow some procedures, and this is also it will take some time till it is recognized and could be accepted to field in one field. Labor market, it is, I have mentioned, and maybe stay in Germany and return. This is maybe, I have met some Ukrainians said, okay, would like to stay, how we can get the permanent stay in Germany. I say, okay, permanent stay in Germany, 5 years, pay tax, and you pay rent or pension, and you can. But this is maybe need a time. I don't want to exceed my time, and I keep that, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Magdi. As you can see, all countries, I can name that all of our 4 countries, we had the same issues to struggle: accommodation, medical care, education, and humanitarian help for those people. And for me, it was even a little bit surprising when they came, the mothers with small children, with a little bit bigger children. Almost their first question was how we can get the place at the school. And we answered to them that please, a little bit rest, relax, the school will come. So I hope you all got some tips from here. And if you have any questions to us, you can connect us, you can ask it, and we had the opportunity to do it in Slido as well. And we have here 2 questions. And the first one is, how can we convey to those remaining in Ukraine that they are expected in our local homelands? I can ask because I have received a number of reports that the affected people are convinced that no one is waiting for them. Who could like to answer to that question? Ilona. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you, Ilona.
I think that we just heard 4 cities which represent 4 countries, and I didn't see any problems if they are not welcoming in our countries. I don't think where this problem is, maybe some specific country, but I didn't see the problem that we don't want them or they are not welcomed.
I feel, on contrary, completely it is different situation in Germany, and I can say, how can we convey to them that the remaining people in Ukraine, they are mostly welcome in the country, and we have so many groups. So, I mean, simply to answer, just to try to check for example, for Dresden, of course, other cities also have the same, the Dresden platform. This is just a simple answer. And you will find it is very simple and it is very easy to come without visa, without nothing, even for the whole family. And there is NGO groups are waiting to give help for the people who are coming from. And once they come, and just people know that they are from Ukraine, so there is no any problem to give support. Just check the Ministry of Welfare in Germany, or just check for my city, Dresden platform for Ukraine. And I can also give the website later on.
Yeah, and the help centers are opened in all our countries. So I think that shows that you are welcome to come and we will help you. And I quickly just say something about the other question. For example, in Estonia, we have the same problem that people are not showing so much hospitality anymore because everybody gets tired, but I think we will find solution on that altogether. I don't know anybody in Estonia who has no place to live. There is always solution if you want to find it. So just this will not be the problem for coming. But as I see, we are almost out of the time. Thank you for the questions who asked it. If you have more questions, you can ask us later. But one aim of our workshop today is also to find out the future needs of countries in helping Ukrainians. And for that, we kindly ask you to go once again in Slido and open your mobile phones or some other device to answer the next question. Can I have Slido here as well? No. Not the questions, but there's yes, yes. Thank you. This one. How can Urbat in future support your cities? What kind of topics are important for you? Please read them, and if you have some other answer, you can write it out. So we know once we have find out those issues, we will be able to organize events in the right topics which you need. So we will be very thankful if you answer. Till now we have 5 answers. The answers is about long-term integration program, about education and language issues, about accommodation and labor market. I think even long-term integration of those people, it's a little bit like a roof of the other topics as well here. 19 answers we have already. Thank you so much. And this will be opened. You can answer, but we can go on. Later we will get all those results, and thank you for that. We can go on with our next topic. And I will not stop in this slide right now, because later you can check the slideshow and find out the ways how to apply for some funding to helping Ukrainian people. But the next one, I want to give the word to the Emilia Postolache, who is the Council of Europe Development Bank. So Emilia, please. Yeah, it's working
yes.
now.
Thank you so much for inviting me to take part in the panel. It was inspiring and humbling to hear from you in light of the efforts that you put in and the care that you put in and welcoming refugees from Ukraine. The call that I will talk about briefly today is the result of a partnership with the European Commission, specifically with DG Home, so the Directorate General for Home Affairs. And it opened recently. The deadline to apply is for 19th of July and seeks to cater to some of the topics that you raised on Slido and that you raised in the panel. Specifically long-term investments and the need to perhaps integrate quite a great number of people, and also to cater for the right accommodation options, so housing solutions, to make sure the language barriers are overcome, that the education system is there to support the kids, and also to assure or to make sure that the healthcare is there and it is accessible to all, and that, and not lastly, the fact that those who want to integrate into the labor market can do so. So all these sectors are eligible. What I should say is that the call is 2.8 million in total, so the grant side, and the call is aiming at partnerships. Exactly the type of setup that you've been describing for the emergency needs, because that is key for successful integration going forward. Now, apart from the sectors, what is there to know is that, and I will only pick up on 2 things, the others you can find on the website, is that one, the partnership needs to include a local, a public authority or body, in addition to the civil society or any type of other social enterprise or national body. Then the fact that the call, because it is funded through AMIF, is in a way limited to capacity building, technical assistance. So it cannot fund investments. However, this is where we come in, and this is how the Commission invited us to take part in it, because our funding can bundle, or can be bundled with your, if it has not been done yet, can be bundled with the grant support to make sure that the funding goes in the right direction and with the right social outcome. Then the second limitation, so to speak, but I don't see it as a limitation and I don't think you should take it as such, is the fact that the funds from the grant side are limited to third country nationals. So it's not targeted directly to Ukraine, but to people coming from Ukraine, but to all categories of refugees. And then that the residents have to be, the target group has to be legally staying in the country. Now, as a last thing that I will say is that there may be additional funds coming up. We are discussing it not with DG Home, but with other branches of the Commission. So in a way, stay tuned for the fall. And that the bank approved last week a package of financing of close to 1 billion. Most of it goes to Poland and is aimed towards local municipalities through the government. And that we raised an additional $1 billion this week for the same purpose. So this type of funding is targeted towards not Ukraine as such, because Ukraine is not a member country, but to helping with hosting refugees from Ukraine. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you, Emilia. And so I hope you write down a little bit information, and later you can check how to find a little bit help for your city. And finally, I hope you all noticed outside the stand United for Ukraine. I'm really happy to call those people here on the stage to introduce themselves. So please, come on. We have here Marta Soprun, who is Ukrainian coordinator of the United for Ukraine initiative. And we also have here Magnus Liljeström, who is Senior Advisor of the Swedish Association of Local and Regional Authorities, which finances this United for Ukraine initiative. So please, floor is yours.
Thank you. I really would like to take this opportunity to cordially thank you all for all you're doing for the Ukrainian people. This is amazing, and I believe that the victory of Ukraine will depend on you too, and this will be our common victory. Actually, the issues that you raised in your presentation, these are very true also for the Ukrainian communities. As you mentioned, 7 million people were hosted in Europe, but 7 more million people were displaced internally. So all of these issues are also true for the Ukrainian communities, and we are also managing most of those issues, and we didn't actually had experience in doing that so far. So my home city of Lviv has already hosted 200,000 IDPs, and we believe that 50,000 more will stay there for a longer time because of the situation. But just as you open your hearts to Ukrainian people, I would also like to encourage you to open your hearts to Ukrainian communities. Because as we learned from war, that successful and sustainable communities are very important to win this war. And we need our people back to Ukraine. Sorry, we need them to rebuild our country prosperous, flourishing, and of course we will need your experience, your best practices to do that, and that is why we launched this United for Ukraine campaign, thanks to our Swedish colleagues and partners. And I think that this is just the very right moment to make this our relations now, this personal relations, institutional, and to bring like more partnerships, more cooperation, to bring Ukraine even more closer to Europe. And I would pass the floor to Magnus, who will also have his contribution here.
And this is precisely our message and our intention, to have long-term partnerships that helps municipalities in Ukraine to connect closer to Europe. Remember what happened in 2013, 2014, when we had the revolution, the Euromaidan, because Ukrainians wanted to come closer to Europe. Precisely because of that, we now have the Russian aggression, which we have not managed to stop when it first showed its ugly face in 2014. To help Ukrainian municipalities to get closer to their European destiny and destination is a big thing, and we will help you on that road. Thank you.
Thank you. Also, my colleague will distribute some cards so that you do not forget about us and join our stand outside. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Marta and Magnus. And our time is up. I'm really happy that you were with us. And Magdi, this was so good point. I'm really sad that because of that situation, now we understand how much important Ukraine is for not only for Europe, for the world. So we are together with you and everything will be okay. So Slava Ukraini. Thank you.